Hi, everyone. Welcome to Basic Binges. We are here to talk the Book of Boba Fett, like a Book of Boba Fett book club of Boba Fett club book. You know, there we are. Okay. Today with us, we have an awesome panel of guests. We'll go around and have each helmeted figure introduce themselves. First, let's have the helmeted figure with Baby Yoda.
Oh, yes. Hello, my name is Laura. I'm a writer and critic for a whole bunch of different freelance writer and critic and editor for the Nerdist. I'm so excited to be here, and I will take my helmet off because I'm not really a Mandalorian. I'm a other exec. We'll talk more. Hi.
Helmeted person number 2.
All right, I'm Mike Manalo. I'm a bounty hunter by trade. No, I'm kidding. I'm a staff writer for the Nerds of Color with Laura, Sirikul on the call as well. Also a huge Star Wars fan and a huge Mando fan. I would take off my helmet, but I don't want to get kicked out of my religion, so I'm probably just I can't breathe in this thing, guys. I'm going to take it off. Screw religion.
We can see your pretty face.
There we go.
And mother of Grogu.
Hi, I'm Whitney. I'm a singer-artist and theme Culinarian and a huge nerd, so I'm really excited to be a part of this again.
Y'all, we were so itching to get this stream started that we just had to go because last night's episode, oh my gosh, screaming, just the return of the Mandalorian. It's the title. It's the title of the episode, y'all. We just were like, ah! Yes.
So good.
No, as soon as that flashed, I was just like, yeah! Like, as soon as you see the silhouette in that plastic,
just screaming, yeah.
It was nuts. It was amazing.
Did we think it was going to follow him the entire time? Because I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, is he just going to be in the opening scene? Or it just, I did not expect just the full on just like, oh, it's his POV. We're back in it, y'all.
Yeah,
go ahead. Go, you go.
I did expect Mando to be in the episode, but I thought it'd be towards the end of the episode, making us wait for it.
Mm-hmm.
So when it starts off with him, I was like, yes, but right, I did not expect the whole episode to revolve around him, but I was pretty stoked and on board, so.
Yeah. When I saw him, I thought, oh my God, they're going to show, where he is and then how he's going to get to them. But, maybe half the episode will be just like where he is. And then the other half will be with Boba Fett, because when we do the flashbacks, it goes to the present. So I was thinking, okay, if they're gonna do a Mandalorian, then they're gonna somehow find a way for him to get to Boba Fett. So I was really shocked it was the whole episode, but I was satisfied. I was like half and half. So I'll explain more later. But yeah, I was, when I saw him, I was just like, ah, and then I just kept going throughout. I didn't stop throughout the whole episode. So it was great.
Just like every little thing, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I definitely didn't expect the whole episode, but more than that, and I know that we're going to get into this, this literally is a direct continuation of where we left off from season 2 of Mando, and I didn't expect any of these plot points to be addressed at all, these lingering questions to be addressed at all. And they just did a phenomenal job of that, and I'm just so happy. It's just, for me, I think we missed, and we went into just, a little bit of a Mando, not relapse, what do you call it? Withdrawal, because we haven't had him for like so long. We've had 4 episodes of Boba, and then just to get him for this Huel like episode, and it's just an important episode, not just for Book of Boba Fett, before the Mandalorian itself, was just like, I was like, yeah, so happy, so happy. I couldn't, there hasn't been an hour of television within this series that has made me happier, honestly, than last night. So yeah, that was awesome.
Sure, and just such an incredibly directed episode by Bryce Dallas Howard.
God.
Oh,
She's
give her a TV show.
Episode.
Give her a Star Wars
Give her a movie.
Yeah.
Give her
Dallas
a movie or a
Howard.
TV show.
Yeah.
It was like cinematography or DPing from like David Klein and Dean Cundy, which Dean Cundy was not initially like credited in the credits, and I was like, some of these shots, like you could tell it was Dean like shooting Mando, and just like the combination of Bryce and like this, like the legend of cinematography. It was just so cool to see how he was framed, like the one shot, like just like the one take shot from the beginning was so cool. And you have this sort of like reintroduction to him where he's just like sad, y'all. He was like, I'm just gonna be doing bounties and be ruthless because I miss my kid. And he's going through this like butcher place, and I joked to my husband that he was like the carnicero, which is like the butcher. And collecting his coin, and but like you still like got a sense of like he is sad.
He misses his kid. It's like my friend Maggie said, like it's like his kid went to college, so now he's just like living it up, like doing what he's like
empty nester.
Just walking around,
he's just like trying to go back to his old life, but at this point there kind of is no going back. And he's constantly being reminded throughout the entire episode, whether he's commuting and he sees another small child and it instantly reminds him of Grogu. So that connection is there, and he can never just go back to doing what he did before.
I mean, it's sorry, go ahead please.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, you could tell how much he's changed and he's evolved, not just in the past 2 seasons, but in this episode alone, all because of the impact that Grogu has had on him, to the point where, he takes this risk at the end of season 2, where he removes his helmet just so that the kid can see him. And, it's what that ends up meaning, especially after this episode. It's almost like it was worth it still. Like at the end of the day, all of that is just worth it. He's willing to kind of buck everything that he believes in for this one kid because of that impact that Grogu had on him. And just seeing that throughout, carry through his character throughout this hour of television. It's so touching. I loved it. I love seeing it.
He's also like being like a dad too. It's like, even though we'll be touching on this, it's like, what should I make? Make something from my kid. I want
Yes!
to do it for my kid. So I feel like it's something that parents do. Like we see something and like, I want to get it from my kid. I want to do this for it. So or even like or like your pets, your kids, or whatever. You're just like, I'm gonna get that for them. They're gonna love it. And then it's like that's what Mando essentially did. It was like, what do you want? I want to make something from my kid.
I did cry. I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
oh.
And even the little package that was like shaped like
cool
him.
Ears.
So cute.
So cute. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What do you think is the armor? Do you think it's like some chainmail, or do we think that there was like a little suit that was made?
Little Beskar armor.
Hard to say.
I hope, even though I don't think it's gonna be real, I hope it's a mask, but I know it's not. But I want it to be, because I just imagine like a little helmet face on, and the ear has an opening for the ears.
Yeah,
it's just like a little mask for him, Like I'm hoping for that, but I feel like it's gonna be a body thing.
Oh, for sure. He needs that Beskar chainmail if Kylo Ren tries to get him.
That's what I was gonna say. How dope could you imagine if it's like the Beskar armor, and then Ben Solo's attack, and that's how he survives? That'd be so.
I don't want to see that, but yeah,
I kind of wanted to, but.
But part of me is also like, Yoda is big, he grew. So, with big Grogu, he's gonna grow. So it's like, is the helmet gonna fit anymore? What are we gonna do? Like, it's not like he's like a puppy grows to a dog. So it's like, I was thinking, I'm like, he can't grow with it. He should.
And they mounted like a big stick. So
yeah. There was part of me that thought maybe it would be a ball, because that was like Grogu's thing, and that could fit in a little napkin, and Grogu could float it over to himself and play with it because he was obsessed with the little ball.
Yeah.
But the little chain links, kind of dissuaded me from thinking that. But I was kind of like, I don't know what you can make with staple-sized chains like that, except maybe chainmail. I mean, like that could be a very good possibility. So chainmail or a little ball. Those are my guesses, I think.
Yeah.
My gosh. The fact that this design is already somewhere and like in the process of being made, I'm just like, are we gonna have a rollout of like chainmail baby?
Oh my god. We probably are. But I feel like they're not gonna show us Grogu or Luke. My prediction is that he has it, and it's kind of telling us for season 3 what to expect from season 3, because this is the Boba Fett show. So, and I know he says in the end, I have to visit someone first before I join your team. I don't think we're gonna see that. I think that's saved for chapter 3 for Mando, or it's not chapter 3 or season 3. Oh, season 3. Season 3 for Mando. And I think it's just for us to be like, but like we're excited for it, because it's like what we're gonna it's a tease for us. So I think he's gonna go to his adventure, and I think when next episode will just be about Boba Fett, and we'll just see Mando come back. Like that's my prediction. Or
do you think that it's a misdirect? Do you think that we think that it's Grogu, but it could be someone else? Like, I was thinking about potential candidates, and Cobb Vanth is on Tatooine. That's also a friend of his. It's not hard to recruit him if they need muscle. There's also, I think I heard somewhere that Filoni is actually directing the next episode. And I think if that's the case, the other thing that kind of floated through my head possibly would be Ahsoka, because Filoni's so protective of Ahsoka. And then this is a spin-off leading off into another spin-off, and at some point it's building that storyline that they're supposed to be converging into a larger, narrative later on. So I was thinking about those potential possibilities if it's not Grogu, So us just automatically thinking that it's Grogu because of everything in the episode. I do think that you're right. They might not show Grogu. It might be a season 3 thing, but it might also be because the friend that he's referring to is somebody else. That's my potential theory anyways.
Yes,
yeah.
And
that's a good one. I didn't think about that. That was pretty good. So.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh.
And I want to see Timothy Oliphant. I'm obsessed with him. Like, he's gorgeous. So yes, I want to see Cobb.
Sidebar, like he might be, I think he's cast in Game Changers. He's replacing the OG coach, apparently, allegedly. And I'm like, it's funny because my husband and I were bummed out because we were watching the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and we were sad that Emilio Estevez will not be returning for the next season. And I was like, well, that's a bummer. And then they announced Timothy Oliphant as like the replacement, and I was like, son of a b, I'm in. Let's go. I will watch that man. Yeah, I will watch that man read IKEA instructions and still not know how to build the thing. And same with sports. I like, the kids are cute in Game Changers. I like their relationships and stuff. Don't know anything about the game or coaching, but just anyway.
If anything takes us away from Bombay, it's Cobb Vanth coaching Mighty Ducks. Not just Timothy Oliphant. Literally, Cobb Vanth can coach the Mighty Ducks, and that would be like the greatest show ever. The Mando Ducks.
He's so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, he's so beautiful. This is very true. Oh wow. And the armor sequence was just so awesome. I mean, not only did we get the little chainmail thing be made, but we also got a very harrowing fight over the Darksaber between the Paz Vizsla. I have to make sure I'm saying the names correctly, and Mando. What did you guys think about that whole sequence? I literally was in my head was just like maybe he can get his arm cut off and then he technically loses the Darksaber and just gets goes over and gets modded or something. Like that was my mental solution. Does he have to die to get the Darksaber over? I don't know. What did you guys think?
If we are going to talk about this, I'm going to whip this out.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. Wait, no. Isn't it signed too? It's signed too, right?
The other one is signed. This one's actually the better one. This is the Black Series one. The one that's signed, unfortunately, is the less nice one, which is the Galaxy's Edge one, but that one's signed. This one, though, I'll put it away. I promise.
No challenging tonight.
Yeah, no challenging tonight. I don't want to, mess my leg up or anything like that, so, yeah.
So, sorry, Mike, what do you think, though? You were saying, I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, I just wanted an excuse to whip that thing out. That's literally it. But yeah, I guess, before I kick it to anyone else, for me, that fight has so much going for it. Not just, how amazing the choreography was, how deep the stakes were and how invested we are in the stakes. But there's so much lore behind that fight as well. the Vizsla clan is literally, Tar Vizsla is the guy, that was the only Mandalorian Jedi in history, and everything goes back to that everything with the Darksaber goes back to Tar Vizsla. So having his descendant, Paz Vizsla, really try and take up that fight, of course he would have issue with the Mandalorian having the Darksaber. He has claim to that title, blood claim to that title, and it's awesome as well that they got Fabs to come back and voice him, because Fabs voiced pre-Vizsla in the Clone Wars too. So it makes sense keeping it in that family, having Fabs reprise a member of that Vizsla clan. So for me, I was very conflicted because Paz Vizsla does have some claim to this Darksaber, and here's this guy. He's a foundling. He's not even a real technical Mandalorian, in a way, with this Darksaber. My favorite character in all Star Wars history, and he's reluctant too. So for me, I was like, who do I root for here? And I was like, no, it has to be Mando. But still,
the whole time I was like, yes. The whole time I was like, is this like more like an M'Baku and T'Challa sort of fight where they're like, you're rooting for both of them? And you're just like, no one gets like deaded.
Well, so
what do you guys think though? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, having a fight when there's like no rails the whole time. I'm like, oh my god, someone's gonna fall.
And they took their packs off.
Yeah. No, yeah, they were living dangerously. They're like, we're gonna make this spicy,
But the choreo, like, I felt like when I was watching, I'm like, this is intense. I'm really like, they did such a great job with the cinematography of like the fight, and like the stakes are so high. And like, I agree with you on Mike, on Pat. Paz has the ownership for it, and the Mando. Like, at first I thought Mando was just be like, okay, here, take it, like he did with Bo-Katan, because he was just like, because he seemed nonchalant. But then in this scene, he was just like, oh, but it's mine now. And I'm like, well, before you were just like, take it. So I'm kind of like, but I'm glad to see that, Mando was able to keep it. And like, he, that whole sequence though, was the fight scene and him fighting with the armorer, and like finding out his strengths, like his weakness regarding it, because like it's just something to look forward to for the third season. Like, I just felt like, man, he's wielding the black saber, he's trying to figure it out, and the fight sequence was great. But then he's gonna have to deal with Paz, who's gonna continuously try to get that saber back, or and Bo-Katan like is gonna try to get that saber. So I feel like he and then it's also making him question his identity as well, because that whole scene was like, and especially when he gets kicks out of the group, but he's kind of like it just makes him like, I don't know how to explain it, but he's questioning his place in the Mandalorian world. Yeah. And I appreciate that scene kind of showcasing it.
It kind of reminds me. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you could see this different side of Mando where he's not as confident and he's trying to find his footing. And it's a very interesting point of view, seeing from the previous season in The Mandalorian, having him just be confident and just kind of going for it. Right now, he's kind of like trying to find himself, and missing Grogu on top of that.
For sure. I think I kind of liken it to like the immigrant's child sort of dilemma, where you're not from where your family is, but you're also not from where you are, and you're looking for your family, and found family being really important, but also wanting to find a connection as well. And I love that, Mando really kind of fits into that sort of narrative, and is, I think, also a reason why he's so relatable.
There is one thing that kind of bothers me now that you brought it up, Whitney, though. I have to say, if there were no guardrails and they had no jetpacks, if Paz Vizsla killed Mando while Mando was holding the Darksaber and he fell off the edge, how would they retrieve the Darksaber exactly? Like, did anyone think about that? Like,
maybe Paz would like tap into his like, Jedi powers, and then just like
he's like running down trying to get.
Where does that land? Because if that's just space, then it's just gonna float out there forever. Like,
it belongs to space now.
Oh. Just fall into the city that was facing upward.
Got it. Okay, that would make a little bit more sense. Because if it's just space, then that's not well thought out, guys. You need the jetpacks.
It's horrible architecture. Which is weird because like I don't think it goes to space because like it's on Tatooine, so it's like it's a planet, so it has to go somewhere.
Yes, so I mean wherever,
like,
as long
they
as
enter the thing, and then it's like I feel like it's like a TARDIS, like bigger on the inside because on the outside they're on Tatooine, so it's like weird to go in and it's like this vast space that has this scary long stretch of like nothingness.
It'd be kind of amazing if it fell onto some surface, and then right next to it is Luke's hand, and right next to that is Palpatine, and then right next
It's like
to
all
that is
just this missing, like
it all goes to the same place, guys.
it's like the room of
Is this
requirement.
it? No,
like the
it's not. A decomposing man.
Which seizes the Darksaber, and then Luke's hand is now the ruler of Mandalore. That'd be amazing. Sorry.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. I was hoping the armorer would challenge him because she's a badass and she would be awesome wielding it. And plus, she would be a great leader of Mandalore because whoever wields the Darksaber would take over Mandalore. But I also feel like it's like a cult because she's kind of like a cultist because she's like, you can't take your helmet off. And
all
like
the rules.
you're out. You're out if you're like you can try to get into the waters of this, but there's no mines. It's like, well, that's on you.
Well, you gotta figure it out then.
No, like, it's like that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
So I feel
Very
like Tilda
stern.
Swinton-ish to me now. So
A little bit.
yeah.
It's kind of amazing to see Mando's character evolve so much from being this slavishly faithful to the creed and to the laws and everything like that. You know, one of the things I loved about last season of Mando was you had characters like Ahsoka and you had characters like Bo-Katan really challenging those beliefs, and then ultimately what ends up sealing the deal is Grogu, to the point where he's willing to just screw the rules. I'm going to take it off because I love this kid. And we're seeing a continuation of that in this one episode, you know, where you start to see that everything that he devoted his life to, it's sort of turning its back on him. You know, like, what good was it that you devoted your life to this if you couldn't, you know, take off your helmet or do these other things and still be this decent person, you know? So I do love that kind of evolution, and seeing that him get challenged by all of them.
But there's one Mando who's also a Jedi, so that means it's like a dual thing, and so can be one of the foundlings. So I thought like it's making him question everything because you can be a Jedi. He is wielding the thing, so I feel like he's understanding that now.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know of someone who's looking to continue to build his tribe, you know, and probably fit in. But without getting ahead of ourselves there, you know, we had that whole sequence and when he goes over to Tatooine and goes over and hangs out with Pelimoto and does not find a Razor Crest waiting for him.
With the N1 Starfighter, oh my god!
Yeah.
Did you guys scream? I screamed. I was like, oh my god! It's like it's prequels.
Naboo! I was like,
Also
It was
seeing
kind
R5D4 again. That was cool. That was a cool Easter egg right there.
and BD too.
And BD,
Yay!
BD was so cute.
In live
Oh my
action.
I
God.
wanna BD.
So
Like
cute.
little thing caught it. It's like BD, oh no! And I'm like, oh no, nothing. We just saw him. Nothing can happen to him, please.
The
And so,
timing
yeah.
on that.
Yeah, the time. Oh my god, it like Amy Sedaris is amazing, and I love her and everything she does. She brings levity to everything, and so with the Mandalorian being so ruthless, because he saw in the beginning he kills. Like Boba Fett doesn't kill like anymore. He does, but you know, but like but you know, Mando is just ruthless. Like he kills and stuff. And then we see like Amy Sedaris like, hey, I did it to Jawa. Like they're hairy, all this stuff, and like you see her, she brings so much like just humor to it. Because I feel like we need that too. Like Star Wars isn't just like
face she did. The licking face she did. She was like they're furry, and then she was like, and I was like,
I love
she's
the whole
amazing.
bit.
She's amazing.
I love it. She's like, not right now. She's like, I'm trying to find myself, or I'm working on myself.
Like I feel like we need that. We need that in Star Wars because it's like so serious. It's like the way, like this is the way, this is the way. Like the first half was like, oh please let me prove myself. This is the way, this is the way. And then the second half, I'm like, I needed that joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
And-
the whole like the building sequence was so it just flew by literally.
And even just when they go into the inflections of humor that they have that Amy Sedaris provides, it's so different from even the humor that happens when you're around Din Djarin. When he's in the elevator, you're getting humor out of the fact that he's carrying a severed head, and this dude is like, "What the hell am I standing next to right now?" It is like pitch black humor, So to have contrasting humor with Amy Sedaris' character, with Peli, it's really refreshing to see that. But yeah, that was one of the things I loved about that. And yeah, it went by so quickly. That whole sequence, it was just a joy,
Yeah.
To quickly jump back to like him walking around with that severed head, like he's like in this fancy bar, like everyone has classy cocktails and is in like gorgeous like dresses, almost gala-like, and he's just like, "I'm here for my coin." Just like plopping
And
the
information.
Yeah.
Going back to the head part, like I just felt like, how Boba Fett, like I know this is not, because we have to remember this is the Boba Fett show. This is like his show. Like I like with the whole like Boba Fett, he's finding himself, and I appreciate the storyline. Like he's being like, Zen now and trying to like rule by respect, not fear, and I appreciate that. But I know fans are going to be like, we want to see the Boba Fett that at the end of Mandalorian killed oh my god, why can't I remember his name? Oh my god, anyway, Fatina. But yes, but he but everyone was like looking for that violent aspect of Boba Fett, and so seeing Mandalorian come in and have that violent aspect, like adding the violence to it, it made me think like, oh my god, like there's gonna be people watching this and thinking, because there was people complaining about Boba Fett, the new Boba Fett, and I feel like people are gonna be like, see, this is like they added the Mandalorian episode for us because we were complaining about, and I'm like, no, this was all shot before the show premiered. Like no, and I think they're just adding that aspect because it's Mando's personality, and it's very different, different from the Boba Fett, because like Mandalorian is a loner. He's alone. And Boba Fett finally realizes his tribe. So I feel like Mando was Boba Fett years ago. Like the Mando is a reflection of that, because we see Mandalorian is like, I'm a loner, and then he has a kid. He takes care of his kid and stuff. But Boba Fett has always been, I'm alone, and then he realizes I need my tribe. So I feel like it's contrasting contrasting shows to show that, but also like it's showcasing that Mando was like Boba Fett, but now he's finally finding his tribe, and I feel like that's why he's so violent, and it's anyway, that was my purpose. Like I wanted to just say that, like people are gonna complain like, oh, it's like you brought Mando because of the complaints. I'm like, no, this was planned beforehand.
It's totally intentional. I think it's intentional to bridge that gap. I think it's very intentional to show that Boba Fett is like, retired, working on his skincare routine, making friends, like adopting youths off the street. And he's gonna probably want to adopt Jin and Grogu, at some point, hopefully, like I just keep wanting like just to like get Grogu away from Ben Solo, please. And I think it's this all intentional. It's bridging this gap between the fandom that grew up on Boba Fett and the new fandom that loves Mandalorian, and kind of like bringing these stories together in histories that we generally don't get outside of the Skywalker family, So I really love what they're doing and what's going on. And like, sure, like sometimes it feels like the creators are definitely in their own sandbox of like, these are the things we would like play if these were like real toys, and they're like, they actually get to play in the sandbox of Tatooine with these like actors and like stunt people who are just so cool to like watch and see like do what they do, and like even just like the cameos that we got in this episode once the ship finally like takes off, because that whole thing I was cheesing. I was just like,
my god, Paul's Sung Kang Lee as Carson Teva. I screamed. I was just like, yes, Appa! But yeah, like that was amazing. I hope we see
and they held it too. They didn't immediately show you that it was him.
Yeah.
They had him like the other pilot dude, and you're just like, Who else is there? Who else is
Mhm.
there? Appa!
Appa! Yeah, that was my favorite part. Because I'm biased, but I love I love Paul and Appa, so I'm biased, and I'm hoping we see him if they ever bring back the Rangers. That we see him. Anyway, that's a side note.
No, I kind of loved what you said, Sabina, about how Boba and Mando fans are kind of getting bridged. And to justify as well a Mando-centric episode, the whole reason that we have any sort of mythology about the Mandalorian is because of Boba Fett. That was anyone's first exposure to what a Mandalorian was. And it wasn't until we took that concept and explored it and expanded the mythology on it that we really got what we see in Clone Wars and what really Dave Filoni helped flesh out. And now we're seeing all of that come into play. So all of this culture, all of this history, the legends of the Darksaber, all of that, that impacts what and who Boba is. We can't tell this story of Boba Fett and of Mandalorians without the story of Mandalore. So, I understand folks probably complained a little bit because Boba wasn't in this episode, but I don't think for a split second that this takes away from really what the series is about, and I think that's definitely the whole point of it all. It's to bridge that gap between Mando fans, Clone Wars fans, Boba fans, to build out this and connect this entire universe and its history all at once through a series like this, through an episode like this. That's huge, and I think people are kind of looking a little bit too much on the surface level stuff. He wasn't in the episode, and not as at the larger picture here. And I think that's really important, and I think that's great that Dave and John are looking at that.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun also with Boba Fett that we're getting to see different sides of the galaxy that we aren't accustomed to seeing. Like, for example, in a previous episode, like the mod shop, that's not something we've necessarily fully seen before, or like a different generation within the galaxy and seeing what's cool or what like the youth is doing, or even things like flying commercial, which we see him doing in this episode, which was definitely Star Tours.
Yeah.
It was Star Tours.
Right? Like, who put it in there?
Yeah. Just seeing like the procedures and everything. It was just kind of cool seeing how, this is how, if you lived within the world, how you would fly commercial or like a day-to-day life. I think that's a lot of fun to see too.
Mm-hmm.
I also felt like it was exposition anyway for us, because I feel like people who don't watch anything other than the live action, it was a good history lesson, I think, with Bo-Katan and all that stuff. And then the destruction of Mandalore,
Yes, that shot was beautiful.
Oh my God.
Night of 1,000 Tears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like not people, unless you watch Clone Wars and read the history, you don't know that. And I feel like it's a good exposition for us, like a history lesson for all of us to know, especially for people who don't know like anything other than the live action. So I felt like it was good for both the people who watch the live act, like who watch everything, and then people who just only watch the live action. So I felt like it was a good base.
Yeah. They pleased everyone in one episode. They pleased everyone.
Oh my God. The Easter eggs are amazing.
Yes.
Like wizard guys, wizards.
I haven't heard that since 1999. Oh my God.
I know. It's like, how was it? Wizard. I'm like, oh. They still use that.
Like Baker's Canyon and the Womp Rats.
Oh my God. Oh, it hit fan service. But when Mando showed up, I was like, F that. Like, I want to see my Mando. But then I feel like I miss him so much. But I also feel like a part of me was like, oh, it's Boba Fett's show. But I'm kind of like, you know what? As long as this is it for Mando and the rest of it is gonna be Boba Fett, I'm okay. Like I'm okay. It's an amazing episode. It's an amazing Mandalorian episode. But as a Boba Fett episode, I was kind of like, oh, but Boba Fett. It's like at the end with Fennec Shan, and I was like, okay, at least we have that. But I felt wrong. Like part of me was like, oh my, this is amazing, and then the part of me was like, it feels wrong to cheer for the Mandalorian episode, the Mandalorian, when it should be Boba Fett moment. Right. But I mean, I still love him. Like, I think I told myself, like, shut up, like, Boba Fett, no.
We would not have a Mandalorian if not for Boba Fett, like Mike was saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool like learning about like the lore. So I think that episode, it was like a perfect opportunity. And then now going back to Boba, we kind of have some more history in regards to the Mandalorians, and that might come into play, you know.
I'm gonna say something kind of controversial here. I will say I'm a Mando fan first, a Din Djarin fan first, and a Boba Fett fan second, because I was never a huge fan of the Fett, even in the original franchise. Let's be honest, they shortchange him. He has 2 lines in Empire, and then he dies like a chump by a blind Han Solo who accidentally hits him. You know, I mean, it's the stupidest death in the history of Star Wars. And to see him come back in that small dose. In the Robert Rodriguez episode of Mando last year, he was so fierce and he was so badass. But in 4 episodes of this series, I wasn't getting that much of a sense of, you know, who he is as a character to endear me to him anyways. And at least not in the same way that he's been endeared to John. And I respect that John loves Boba so much, but he wasn't selling me on the love that he had for him. So when Din came on the screen and this became a Din-centric episode, I was kind of like, I'm good with this. Like, you had 4 episodes to wow me, and I still don't love Boba Fett. In 1 episode, I actually started caring about what was going on here, you know, again. So I might just be a little bit biased, but if you weren't going to wow me in 4 episodes of Boba Fett, and people are going to complain that we had 1 episode without Boba Fett, but it happens to be like the best episode of the series so far, I've got nothing to complain about. That's awesome. You know, I love that this is my favorite episode of the series so far. And I'm sorry for the Boba fans, but you know, we had 4 episodes. You had 4 shots to make me care, and I still am not in love with Boba Fett yet.
I would say that is valid. It's more valid than the people that are mad that he doesn't have the helmet on the whole time and is not talking, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I mean, I understand the thing, like, because like I feel like with Boba Fett, we only have 4 episodes, and it's like only 45 minutes or 30 to 50, like the most is like 50, but it's like only that amount of time to give us a backstory of what happened to him and the present. So I feel like it's not fair to judge on 4 episodes. I know you're like, oh, but you can, and all this stuff. But Din Djarin, like even like all the writing has been amazing. It's been showing his present time, you know, and maybe a little bit of flashback. But Boba has history, has so much history. We don't know what happened to him all those years, and like we've seen his Clone Wars time, like, because we know his history, even though, you know, we don't know, like, we're just like, oh, he speaks only a little bit, but we know the history from books and all that stuff. So I feel like it's hard to put all that history of Boba Fett into 4 episodes of like what happened in the past, like where he been to make him the person he is today and what he's trying to strive for. That's why I'm like, I'm willing to give it the whole season so we have a good base, because like a lot of people, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't love him yet, but I'm like, you know what, it's hard to put so much past and so much present in only like a sitting right now, especially 4 episodes. Like, there's too many years of history, and then we want to know what's going to happen for the forward. And I feel like it's just like it's difficult to put it together within 45 minutes. And that's why I haven't judged like the character or him like yet, like and Fennec Shan, like how they haven't given her enough time yet either, like to shine.
I agree. Like more Fennec.
Yeah,
more
and I feel like it's because they need to be, because they only have 4 to talk about this history of this guy that we've known for many years before all of us were born. So I feel like it's hard to gauge within 4 episodes. That's why when they had the 5th episode and it's Mandalorian, the Mandalorian fan, Star Wars fan in me was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But I also felt like, as a Boba Fett, someone who wants to get to know Boba Fett, I felt like a little bit sad. Like, the part of me is like, but you know what? This is a time that we should get to know. There's so much history and so much that I felt bad that the attention went to Mandalorian, because like Din, because there's within 4 episodes, it's hard to put all that history and all that present together.
That is a really fantastic point. And I agree with you 100%. There's still 2 more episodes. It's 7 episodes, right?
2 more episodes.
2 more episodes left for me to get to love him. I think for me, you're 100% right. There's so much history that they haven't even scratched the surface of. But the problem is, so far in those 4 episodes, he's just continuously made bad choices for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really terrible effing choices. And every episode, because of those bad choices, someone has to bail him out. Whether it's the punker kids from Alita, Battle Angel, or whether it's Fennec. You woke up, and I know that he was delirious and everything. You woke up, Jawa stole your shit, and then you're in the middle of the desert, and you still think that your armor's in the Sarlacc pit? Like, why are you going to investigate the Sarlacc pit? Like, dude, like, it doesn't make sense. And then Finnick has to bail him out of that. And I'm just kind of like, and then he's like, I'm gonna rule with respect. Well, nobody respects you. It's clear no one respects you, and you have every opportunity to attain that respect by putting fear in people, and you're not. And I know that maybe this is kind of what I'm hoping Din and your point about Din being ruthless. This is what I'm hoping Boba takes from that. Sometimes you can still be respectful, but still be ruthless. And if you're going to be a crime boss, a daimyo, you have to be ruthless, and you're not ruthless anymore, dude. So I'm kind of like, stop making stupid decisions and stop having people bail you out. In 4 episodes, that's all we've seen you do,
I want to see him.
Guy? I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's like, I just want to see him ride a Rancor, dude. Like, I want to see
that would redeem everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm being 100% serious. That would totally redeem everything.
If that happens, I'm going to be like, see, Mike? I'm going to be like, watch this.
I'm waiting for that, honestly. If that happens, I'm like, okay, I take back everything I said.
Like, I feel like there's gonna come to a point where he's gonna be like, I'm gonna have to kill you all to make the point. Like, it's gonna like it's the boiling point. It's still steaming, and I feel like he's trying to calm it down, but you get to a point where he's gonna have to do it. And I think right now he's trying to be zen, but I think he's gonna realize you need to be the corrupt person.
I hope it does not come at the cost of any like Tatooine youth.
Oh yeah, or anyone. Like, I hope all, like, I mean, people are gonna have to die and stuff, but like, I'm hoping it's not like the people we really, really care about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or a person of color. That's it.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. I hope that he is more of like a Dom from the Fast and Furious, where he's just assembling this incredible like family.
On the Rancor family.
Yeah. And they go off into space.
Oh my
God. He's gonna jump he's gonna jump in space over the moon like family.
And then alongside him will be Din in the Naboo cruiser, and it's just like they're racing.
Just right off into the horizon.
They're gonna divide, like they're gonna be like, yeah.
I think we're in the middle right now of literally writing the greatest Star Wars movie ever made.
I think so too. If Fast and Furious went to space, who knows?
Yes, exactly. It's like, listen, like they got to take a page from Fast and Furious, which is like a league of black and brown people with awesome plot armor doing like hijinks and heists. Like, I'm down for that with Boba Fett and Jin. Like, like, that's fine. Like, let's go. I'm ready for it. I think I just also want the Mandalorian to take his helmet off more often.
Just because he's beautiful.
He's
beautiful. I mean, that's the selfish reason, but also, there's a lot of like talk of like a certain regimen of like the fandom being like they shouldn't take their helmet off or whatever. But like, as people of color, we don't often get to see ourselves as like these heroes. And like for me personally, like seeing my dad every week see Boba Fett's face, and like he is an older brown gentleman as well, it's been like a joy. That's been my joy. Like, I agree with Mike. I'm like, I don't know if I find him interesting as a person, but I'm like loving seeing my dad's reactions to seeing himself like represented like that, and that is like, I really do hope that, we get to see more Pedro Pascal face as well. And especially in Star Wars universe that is lacking Oscar Isaac at this point in time.
Andor.
Yeah.
Oh
anyway,
gosh.
but yes, but they're both beautiful, and I want to see all of them. Like, Pedro. It's a waste. Like, one, yes, it's a representation, but it's also a waste of Pedro Pascal's face.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think we all need to. I know it's like double, but we all need to see.
I'm worried because it's like, will his schedule on The Last of Us like make it so he's not often helmetless? Like, is that what's gonna happen? I'm worried. Or is that what he's been shooting while Book of Boba Fett was happening? I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah,
especially with COVID schedules and cancellations and shifts and stuff like that. Sorry, Laura, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, just Pedro Pascal's hot. That's it. We all know that, though. It's a fact.
Good looking dude. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's back. Although we're getting on Isaac and Moon Knight, and I already joked with Stephanie, our producer, because we were like, listen, even if there's no food, Oscar Isaac is the snack. And so every week we will just talk about different ways that he is a snack. A different personality is a snack inspired by a different personality of Oscar Isaac, because he is the snack.
I kind of disagree with you, because he's a whole meal.
Oh!
A whole meal.
Oh wow, I'm thinking about all our Star Wars people.
I'm sorry,
now.
Mike. This is our conversation.
Hey, look. I mean, as somebody who grew up, like, you know, you see in sci-fi and in a lot of genre, women being sexualized for the demographic and the oogling of the pleasures of men everywhere. We are finally getting to a point where we can finally talk about men, you know, being oogled by women. And I think that you guys deserve this after how many years of not
Let us have this moment.
Yeah, you guys deserve it.
Give me this.
But yeah, no, it's a really good point. Pedro Pascal's a good looking guy.
No, but going back to the episode of I just love the Easter eggs though. Like it was great to see that because rarely you get to hear about like the prequels being mentioned or like stuff like that. So it was actually a nice homage to the prequels. And I just felt like it was really fan service. I'm gonna be honest. It was kind of a lot of fan service, but the thing is, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Like every aspect, it flowed with the story. It made sense and everything, but also was fan service. So I was like, this is the best of both worlds, and I appreciate that Bryce Dallas Howard knew that, and also John knew that, and Dave and all that stuff. Like I really appreciated this episode as a Star Wars fan and as a Mandalorian fan, and a little bit as a Boba fan too.
Like it was such tasteful fan service, to your point, you know. I mean, like if you didn't watch episode 1, if you didn't watch any of the cartoons, if you didn't play Fallen Order, you could still watch this episode and still just enjoy it for what it was. You didn't have, you know, Amy Sedaris pointing to the camera and going like, hey, there was a boy on Tatooine with his aunt and uncle, you know, like those kind of dumb call outs. It was tasteful. It was just like a love letter to the fans, but it didn't really, you know, affect anything. It wasn't like super in your face, which I really enjoyed. Plus, as someone who hates, I'm not, Phantom Menace is my least favorite of the entire Star Wars saga. To get me excited for Phantom Menace call-outs, like that's huge. Like I can't believe they did that. So that's amazing, you know, in my opinion. But yeah.
Whitney, did you have any favorite Easter eggs?
I mean, there's a ton. Even something like one of the parts that they used when they were repairing the ship goes back to it was the same part they were using in the trash compactor. You know, so that was kind of cool, being like, oh, cool, it's that same part, and just kind of seeing it kind of floating around. Or that the ship was originally for the Naboo Guard, that kind of thing too. It was really cool. You know, obviously Baker's Canyon, that was fun, and the Womp Rats, and it just took me back, and that was really fun. It was like fun and nostalgic, but it was still done tastefully.
It's so cool. I didn't even catch the trash compactor part. Like that's really good eyes on that one. Like, wow.
So many good call-outs. I really wish I could interview like someone interviews Amy Sedaris and ask her how she did all those terms, the terminology. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, she's like naming all this stuff, and I'm like, I want to know how much like she had to learn that and what she thought about that, because she's just amazing. Like, I wish that these kind of shows get nominated for guest. You know, she was nominated for a guest, like for Emmy, like the guest spot, because for a comedy like or drama, because she just kills it every time she's on screen. Yeah. And I really wish that she would get nominated. Like she deserves a nomination, because she just brought so much to this character, so much to this world, and so much to like the canon.
Yeah, and even just like the simplicity and how she described that she hollowed out the droid like thing for him. I was like, oh my god, because she
Also, are we going to see Grogu in that spot? You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking about that.
Well, Gorgon, but you remember he hates droids? You know how like Mandalorian hates like, right? Is that him? Was it?
Yeah.
He hates droids and all that stuff. So like, who knows? Maybe he'll get his own mech too.
Maybe.
But now he's like, okay, I trust you.
I do have to ask though, like, where is he going to put bounties? Like, you remember in the first episode, he freezes Bobby Moynihan's character in carbonite and then sticks him in the cargo hold. There's no cargo hold on this thing, so are you just going to tie it to the roof of your starship?
He like flies away. He's like, I left it on the roof.
You become alive or you become dead. He just had a head. So the head just fit in the compartment.
Yeah.
The head's on the back.
Yeah.
It'll totally look like Futurama, which will be kind of awesome.
There you go. So like it depends on like if it's just a head. So toss it in the back.
I think that's probably going to be his deal now. I can't bring anyone back whole anymore because my ship doesn't allow for it. So, just pay me for the head, guys, basically.
Or you come with me alive. You know what? I don't have space. You're coming.
Like freeze them in carbonite and then like just magnetize them to the bottom of the ship.
Oh, that's true. That could work too.
Yeah. Fasten it on there with bumper stickers, slap all the stickers on there and everything.
If lost, return to Mando. Be Grogu on board.
One that says "I love you" and the other side it says "I know."
I know. I was there for that.
But I am looking forward to how he's going to help them. Like, and I love that when Fennec came to recruit him, she was like I think everyone, because like I think I talked with my friends and they said that she seems so relaxed, and I think it's because she knows that he's a good fighter. He's a good person to have on your side. And then she was like, "Here's the money," and then he was just like, "Nah, it's free." And she's like, "Okay, money for me." And then also I feel like I think she felt comfortable knowing that he's going to be on their side, even though because like, and then also remember how they said like the person who wields the sword could defeat 50 people. So I think it's foreshadowing that he's going to help with the Darksaber, and he's going to be able to beat some of the Pikes, because the Pikes have a huge army. So I feel like it's foreshadowing that he's going to be able to wield that Darksaber ish. He burnt his leg. I don't know. He ish.
Yeah.
Focus on the ish. But yeah, and I love the fact that he was just like, "I'll do it for free." And I love that scene, that moment between them.
It's very earned, honestly, because of everything that we've seen Boba do for Din Djarin, and how much Din actually, how much that means to him.
He said it's on the house.
Yeah.
On the house.
Yeah.
You toss that.
Yeah.
Credits back.
Because they're family.
Yes!
Family. Well, that's the thing. It's a tribe. Like, and this is you know what? I also love that he didn't take the money, and it kind of builds that trust of loyalty.
Yeah.
That Boba Fett has been talking about. Like, I will give you my loyalty, all this stuff. And I feel like, and what's his name? And Boba was like, you need a tribe. And Fennec was like, "Oh, you just pay them." But then it kind of shows that you do get loyalty, and you build this tribe. And now I'm glad Din is part of that tribe.
And it also, when you think about it too, having this relationship with Boba Fett, it's going to be meaningful because he's going to need followers if he's ever hoping to become the ruler of Mandalore, the new leader of Mandalore. If no one else will speak for him, at least Boba Fett is there. And I know that his opinion is probably not going to count much with the rest of the Mandalorians because he's a clone. But at the end of the day, if he needs backup, that is some sort of backup. It's somebody at least in his corner. And I think that that's going to matter, because they are, to your point, a tribe. So yeah, maybe this might really tie heavily into that future storyline. I think. Who knows?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Like, as soon as the episode ended, I'm like, I can't wait for the next episode. Can it be now? Like, drop it now. Oh my gosh. No, I'm excited to come back and chat what happens. So just to wrap things up, let's go around and tell people where they can find you. And if you have anything interesting coming up, we'll start with Whitney.
So you can find me on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. On Instagram, I'm wondrouswhitney _, and you'll definitely see a lot of like themed food and baking and all kinds of artsy stuff on there that's fandom related.
You can find me as Sirikul on Twitter, and you can just find me based on that. And then I write for a whole bunch of places. You'll see my work on the Nerds Color and Nerdist and a whole bunch of other places. So I'll always tweet where I write, who I'm writing for and what I'm writing.
And you can find me at, and I'm sorry for this, at TidyBowlBoy182 on Twitter and Instagram. Probably best not to read those tweets because they're all terrible. But that being said, my work on the Nerds of Color and what we do at the Nerds of Color is phenomenal. Thanks to, of course, editors like Laura. So at the Nerds of Color on Twitter and Instagram as well, and thenerdsofcolor.org for all of our articles and stories.
Yes, and I'm your host, Sabina Graves. You can find me here on Nom Talk, also on Nerds of Color, also just on a bunch of websites that I freelance for. I have some awesome, exciting ones coming up that are going to be really cool to announce. And you can find me tweeting nonsense on at Sabina has no R on Twitter, and posting my adorable dog / Ewok breed Gus on at that Lady Graves on Instagram. Yes. And just to like wrap things up real quick, do some like house stuff here for Nom Talk. We just recently are starting to announce that we're going to have a Nom Watch Review streaming show starting February 22nd. And it's going to be like pop culture commentating as people are nomming on some delicious snacks, maybe inspired with some of the shows movies that are being watched that are either new or celebrating their big anniversaries. And the first announced movie that they are doing on the channel is Queen of the Damned, which is turning 20 years old. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next week.